hardest thing for me in the divorce I went through was really losing a lot of access to my daughter. I went to a very dark place. You know, I got embroiled in this thing that, you know, takes assets, takes away who you are. Everyone gets hurt. I think kids get hurt, can get dragged out through the courts, and that was my experience. And I went to a very dark place. You know, I still get choked up about it. You know, particularly around my daughter. I put on about 20 kilos. I lost the essence of who I was. I'd been taken away from the core of who I am. I got lost on life's path. Life's a funny thing, you know. We had a climbing buddy of mine. He was putting together a team for Everest. We'd climbed together before in the Andes. So I was out of shape. I was in a dark place, and I knew that I had to grab it. I'd met Joe Bonington through the Fitness First chain. I knew Joe was an expert in training for mountaineering. He's got a rich legacy heritage in mountaineering, of course, in his family. Sat down with Joe and I said, Joe, I've grabbed this thing. This is locked in. Will you be the official team coach? Will you come on board? We had 11 months to run until we were going to be on the mountain, and so he gave us this blueprint that was the most intense period I've ever had in my life.
When I first saw Steve, he wasn't as in good a shape and nick as he is now. He was driven, but he needed a bit of work. It's quite complex training because of the amount of different factors that are thrown into the mix. We had macrocycles, mesocycles, and microcycles, and we had a big long lead into the climb. We did a type of training that's called conjugated, so where we're trying to hit several goals at once. The reason why I use the gaffer tape is a thing called hypoxic training. It's basically about just reducing the oxygen flow, getting in there, simulating what he's going to get on the mountain. The gas mask's even better because I don't have to look at his face.
It wasn't until I got onto the mountain that I actually understood the relevance of the training. The training was mental training. The body as a byproduct becomes supremely fit because of the stuff that you're going through. But on Everest, it's 80% mental, 20% physical, because you hit your wall the first time you go up to the icefall. You can be hitting your wall sometimes every 100 metres that you gain. The training that Joe gave us to just hit the wall, there's nothing left in the tank, there's nothing there, but the mental conditioning of saying, you know what, there's one more step in the tank. I can just take this just this little bit further. The summit is such a small part of it. It is about the journey, absolutely. It is about who you've got to become. You've got to have around you a great team. I could not have got to where I've got to without Joe Bonington, period. You know, the training that you go through and who you become mentally to get there. And you're pushing through these layers to who you are and what you've got, what there is in there that you didn't really understand. It's got nothing to do with the summit.
The thing that's inspired me most about Steve's story is you've got an ordinary Northern Beaches bloke who's just done absolutely extraordinary things. You know, he's gone to climb Everest, and he's going to go on to do greater things as well. And that's what I find inspiring.
Do you know, the environment here has been absolutely phenomenal. You know, I must look like a lunatic. You're rocking up, you're training with a pack on the treadmill, you might have gaffer tape on your mouth or a mask on your face, you know, and they might just come up and pat you on the back and say, we can see you're ready. Little stuff like that, people may not realise the importance it means to you, but you take it on board. It's changed my whole world. I'm doing a lot of speaking, you know, etc. I was petrified of speaking, petrified, and this whole world's opened up around that, etc. And I think I've been freed. You know what? Whatever I want to do now in life, I'm going to go for it. No matter how ridiculous, how silly it seems, if in my gut it's what I need to do, I'm going to go for it.